This feud between the king and his half-brother, the wizard, has been going on for long before I was around. Presently, the king's scepter has been in the wizard's grasp for over 50 years, and his highness has worked himself into a royal frenzy. At first, he managed to get volunteers to deliver the ransom, promising them great wealth and even a promotion to royal office, but none of them succeeded. I don't know why I decided to go to the public market that day, but there I was, minding my own business, when with a fanfare of trumpets the king arrived, casting his baleful eye about the masses. He fixed his eye on me this time, and now I find myself another unwilling adventurer in the forest of doom. Hey! Oh my word. There's nothing for it now, lad. It's do or die.
Are you ready?
So, you're just going to do this just like it's a normal CoCoTALK? Is that
Yeah, we're going to do it similar to a normal CoCoTALK. The only difference is we're not going to do any segments. So we're not going to do news or segments or anything else. This will just be a special edition CoCoTALK, and it's going to be all about you and Forest of Doom.
Woo! Wow. Okay.
This is CoCoTALK, the nation's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer, with your host, Mr. Gameplay Goodness himself, Stevie Stroud.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to a special edition of CoCoTALK. It's not live. And we have a special focus today. We are going to be talking to Mr. Bruce Moore, and we're going to be talking all about his latest project, Forest of Doom. Where if you've been, if you've been around and you haven't been under a rock, you probably have a small idea of what Forest of Doom is all about. But we're going to find out about it in great detail. And right now, our panel of beautiful, handsome men here. Speaking of beautiful and handsome, we have got David Ladd. Look at all these pixels on David's profile shot there. That is just some grainy gloriousness right there. I love it. We've got the lovely and talented Mark Overholzer. We have our guest of honor, Mr. Bruce Moore. We have all the way from the UK, Karen Anscombe is with us, and so we might need some translations along the way since he's foreign. Bill Noble, Grant Leedy, and Curtis Boyle. Actually, look at us. We have 3 Canadians. We've got a Brit, and then a couple of what do we call ourselves here in the States? The British rebels or something?
Yankees.
Yankees.
British traders, I think it was, wasn't it?
British traders, yeah. Happy Treason Day. It's July 4th.
Actually, in the movie Stripes, Bill Murray said there were mutts because we've been thrown out of every other decent country in the world.
The rejects, or the global rejects. So.
Yep, that's us.
Well, I mean, I guess Australia's got it worse. They were a prison colony. So.
That was rejects or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, okay. All right, so we're here. And we're here to talk to Bruce about Forest of Doom. And I guess you want to just take it away. I'll tell you what I think I know about this, and because we've all been kind of watching this. So first off, Bruce, I think the first time I met you was earlier this year in April at CoCo Fest. CoCo Fest 26, right? I get lose track of those. Yeah, it was the 26th annual last Chicago CoCo Fest in April of this year. So that's when we met you, and that's where we saw your little display back there. And when we really became greatly aware of Forest of Doom. And so why don't you give us a little introduction to that, and then we'll get into your full presentation. But tell us the short version of Forest of Doom.
Short version of Forest of Doom.
Is there a short version?
Yeah, the short version being Dungeons and Dragons on a computer.
There you go. Okay.
I guess that was it. You know, I wanted
30 years in the making.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it started in the 80s. Just started learning how to code. I'll talk more about that. But sure, you can say D&D on the computer before there was internet and Skyrim and whatever all is going on here right now. This is kind of pre all of that.
Sure. Now, when we get into the game Forest of Doom and how we're able to purchase the game and the whole 9 yards, there's also a soundtrack that comes with it too that you made to go with it. Would now be a good time to start that soundtrack, or do we wait until you start your presentation?
Well, maybe after the presentation, actually, because let's do it after the presentation.
Okay.
Put it on while you show us the manual.
There we go.
That way.
All right, so perfect. So you've got a present. Hold on, here comes Nick Morentis all the way.
Nick. Good. Yay, Nick.
Hey, Nick. Good day, Nick. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. I know today is a work day for you, right? In Australia, it's Monday.
Yes, I probably won't be able to stay for the full show.
Okay.
I'll just stay for whatever time I can.
Okay, well, you got here just in time because Bruce is about to start his presentation. All right, and here we go. My life as a cocoa nut.
All right, so it's coming through all right?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, so for the sake of the podcast, I guess I'll actually have to read off these slides, or else it's not going to make a whole lot of sense, right?
Right.
Yes.
So here we go. The first computer I ever saw. So what is this? This
Looks
is
like
the
Model 1.
Model what?
TRS-80 Model 1 and all of its silver glory.
Yeah.
Yep. Nick's first one, too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, first computer I ever saw, we had our computer club, which met in the basement of our public library on Tuesday nights. It was essentially 3 guys who had similar Model 1s or whatever the next version of it was. They would, unplug it all, haul it down to the library, and invite other people to come and see them.
Oh, wow.
And then, show, like, what are these computer things all about? And if you brought your own cassette, you could code something and save it onto the cassette and take it home with you, This was just phenomenal. I think the first thing I tried to do was make a Millennium Falcon on the screen that was flying through an asteroid field. That was the very first attempt. I may have a cassette with that code on it somewhere. Someone may be able to decode it for me. So club didn't even have a computer until the CoCo came out, and this is the actual computer we had. It was a 4K model, as if you see the badge there.
Yeah.
And and a cassette. And I started learning how to code, using that. Well, not that book behind it. It would have been an older book even. And just some tips from some of the guys who knew a bit about BASIC, and I wanted to do. I was into Dungeons and Dragons at the time, and I wanted to do a Dungeons and Dragons on the computer.
That is I think that's. I don't know if it's ironic or completely a common thread that I think a lot of us have, because one of the things that drew me to the CoCo, because I was also playing Dungeons and Dragons as a kid, probably by the age of 12, when I saw that I could play these text adventure games. That was close to like a single-player version of Dungeons and Dragons. Even though it didn't necessarily have all of the elements, it was still the same concept where you had to use your imagination to figure out where you were and achieve goals. And so those text adventures were attractive to me as a kid because it fell into line with that. And I think some of my earliest programs I wrote were random dice generators and character generators where I could create my stats on screen and stuff like that. So I'm sure a lot of us have that common thread there of liking Dungeons and Dragons and early computer stuff.
Yeah, I would say the same for me. I mean, the Choose Your Own Adventure books and Dungeons and Dragons both influenced me liking text adventure games, and then stuff like Telengard and Gates of Delirium and stuff later. Now, I do have a quick question for you, Bruce. That you said that is the actual picture of the actual CoCo your library had?
Yeah, that is the computer. Yeah.
What is that little switch you guys modified on the right hand side?
Yeah, that's what I did after they gave it to me. But our club eventually shut down, and that's the inverse video.
Inverse video mod.
Wire. I can't remember what exactly you wired from where to where, but you could get your inverse video, and it was a little easier on the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are horrified that I put a hole in the case, but I didn't care at the time.
It actually looks pretty good. It's not too distracting. It doesn't look like an abomination,
Yeah, I've seen far worse. Trust me.
Okay. Yeah, well, basically, anyway, yes, that little hole in the case, I think all I did was just sink my soldering iron through it. I think that's all I
did. Curtis did that to his hair once, so.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
I was trying to do an afro, it didn't work.
Yeah, and then, of course, now you see how he is today, so you can tell.
You can tell if you threw my skull a few times by accident, too. So.
Yeah, okay. So this, now of course there was no extended color basic ROM in this either, so there were no graphics,
right?
You had to, this was all text, and so when you see Forest of Doom, I look at it and go, well, gee, I guess the graphics could be done better, but I wanted to just stay true to its original form, and I'm just going to stick with text, because the reality is it's the imagination that counts here. If I can create a narrative and a story and a campaign, the graphics don't matter that much, right? So
yeah, I forgot how that phrase goes, but it's the world's most powerful GPU is the human mind. So
exactly. Now, so the library saw this computer thing was happening, so they subscribed to a number of magazines. I think there were 3 or 4 different magazines. This is just a copy of one of the rainbows.
Yeah.
Definitely looked through a Rainbow magazine a fair bit, and then this, I thought this was really cool when I saw these ads. Like, what, you could get a cassette sent to you every month with programs on it?
T&D Software. Yeah, I don't remember them. I didn't become aware of them until I started checking Curtis's website on some of the stuff he has there. CoCo cassette subscription software. Yeah, I remember you could get Rainbow on tape or Rainbow on disc, but I don't remember this specifically.
Yeah, there was a couple of them. There was Chromaset, there was T&D, the debugging one from Fort Capel, Saskatchewan. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so of course, this is all pre-internet, and even, I don't know, did they even have modems out yet for the CoCo? I don't even know if
they were there, but they were really, really expensive.
Yeah, and so the whole bulletin board thing hadn't even really taken off yet. And so this was the easiest way to get software, was to have them mail you a cassette, one just like this. So this is CoCo cassette number 31. Entry number 8, Grid Run, is one of mine, and looks like this was from January of '85. 16K extended color computer is all these things on here are designed for. So
were a lot of them in BASIC, or were there some that were assembly language as well?
Yeah, there was machine language too. Yeah, there was a mix, and it came with with a sheet explaining, how far you had to fast forward your cassette to find the game you wanted to. Right.
Yeah.
And
you'll notice on the top there the 2 tape counters, like the locations, because there was 2 different cassette recorders Radio Shack sold. The original CTR-81 and then the CTR-88, or maybe I got that backwards as far as the order goes, but they didn't count the same, so they had to do 2 separate numbers, one for each cassette deck.
And each column has 2 sets of numbers in case your tape is a little wonky, and if you go to fast forward to 43 and for some reason that doesn't load, you get another copy over at 287. So you're hoping that one of those is going to load into your system there.
Wow, that had to be a nightmare to produce these things too, if you think about it.
Oh, yeah. They had bulk mass tape copiers. I remember Frank Hogg was telling me about some of the ones that he'd seen, and they have like 8 cassettes going at once off one master.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you're doing them at a higher speed, the errors go up. So, yes, the nightmare that would have been. So playing games is fun, but, I couldn't really afford the good ones, right? I look at the ads through the Rainbow magazines. I don't have money for any of these things, but I can try and code something myself, so I'll take a crack at that. And when I did get some things coded, I contacted T&D and said, maybe I could sell it to these guys. And here's a copy of the submissions information form. And where they say basically they produce 80% of their stuff in-house, but they occasionally take from outside. And their big deal was, if we get the program, we'll pay you $50, or you could have $75 worth of subscription or back issues. You know, and the other thing they wanted at this point of the game, they wanted everything to fit within 16K extended color basics. So, and being that's all that I had to work with, I did end up having a CoCo 2 at home. So I did graduate from the 4K CoCo.
Okay.
Now, did you pick the money option or did you pick the free subscription option?
Yeah, well, I think I did both because I sold. Ended up selling 5, and I think I did the money option up first because that gave me money to buy the EdTasm cartridge, and then I could program more. So yeah. Well, I had some rejections, like they didn't want my tape directory, whatever that was. I did sell a few. Like so, the Space Lab and Light Cycle. Space Lab was an adventure. We'll see some of those. And Grid Run. So Grid Run, yeah, there's a receipt there for Grid Run. So I got my whopping $50 US in February 1st of '85.
Nice.
Yeah, and then ended up in the local newspaper, where you can see my lovely CoCo 2 and the wooden monitor stand I built for my little TV.
You see all
I
the
think
cords.
you mentioned you got an article of Steve Wozniak up in the corner too.
Yeah, that's Steve Wozniak up on the wall looking down on me there. Giving me inspiration or something. I don't know. I know he was Apple, but
Yeah.
always wanted an Apple, you know. But this CoCo thing was pretty good.
I mean, you got to think about it. It's kind of cool to be written up in your local paper for doing something, and not everybody was able to achieve that. So that's a pretty cool achievement, especially at 16 years old, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, and it's as cool as that all was. This then our local access television, whatever it was, they had some little blurb, and they got it all wrong. They Bruce Moore. Now get this, you know, Bruce Moore wrote and sold a program on his Color Commodore. They said
Color Commodore, huh?
and I was so offended.
As you should be.
That wasn't a Commodore. That was a Tandy. Well, anyway.
I would have burned that newspaper place to the ground for that one. So.
Color Commodore.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So that was, you know, that was. So as I said, I took the money option at the beginning at least, and bought an EdTasm cartridge, and mainly wrote routines to enhance my further basic programs. And man, I could barely remember how that thing works, I gotta say. But in the end, 5 games to T&D. Those are listed there those are the order I think I made them, though not necessarily the order the issues came. Oh no, those look in numerical order, I guess.
Yeah, so you had Grid Run in issue 31, Light Cycle in issue 33, Space Lab in issue 36, Explorer in issue 44, and Astro Dodge in issue 48.
Yes.
That's quite an accomplishment to be published 5 times, you know?
Yeah, I guess it's something, eh? It's something. It's something. So give you a quick little demos of Light Cycle. So Light Cycle, I must have just seen the Tron movie recently, so so this is kind of a little opening screen, trying to get some 3D perspective here, and then get some actual gameplay. That was a play command making that sound.
That sounded pretty good.
And here's my kids, you know, not quite getting it. When I put that game out, they got they played it for a good afternoon trying to defeat each other. They thought that was pretty fun.
It's such a fun game. It's basically the Snake game, you know, which has been around forever, but it was made famous by the Tron arcade, you know.
Essentially, yeah. And then you can see the sort of the evolution, because I had that sort of static perspective, you know, line drawing, and then with Grid Run.
Sound effects are on fire.
So now I've got a moving grid.
Oh, look at that.
Page flipping, and this is where I'm going through my non-violent phase. You shoot a net catcher to capture the alien, you know, not destroy him. I'm using an emulator and a mouse trying to. There, I finally got him.
Okay.
To try and catch the guy. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun, getting this 3D effect thing going here. Then I
Space
got to my adventure lab, my adventure game phase, and let's see, click here. So my obvious ripoff of
Star Trek.
Star Trek inspired theme there.
Yeah, so in Space Lab, the year is 2035, which I may live to see even. Hopefully I'm not on the space station Space Lab, which is in danger because it's running low on power and will fall out of orbit.
I love here it says the thorium crystals that power your ship
Yes.
are at a very low power level. The thorium crystals.
Yes, not dilithium.
Okay.
And your job is to find out how to re-energize them and re-energize them. That wasn't quite obvious.
Yeah, your job is to find out how to re-energize them and then re-energize them, find out how to, and then do it.
Yes. I didn't spend a whole lot of time working extensively on my instructions for these games. So.
You have an intro screen, though, so that's professional.
Yeah, I guess so. That's something. So if I click on this, here's just some gameplay.
Welcome to Space Lab. What will you do? So I like the split screen aspect of this. So here the top half of the screen says you're in a control room. You can see a ladder and a trap door and tells you your obvious directions. Okay. What will you do? Open trap. You can't do that. Climb ladder. Okay, you're in an observatory room. You can see the stars and a planet below. Ooh.
There was a key we just grabbed.
Okay.
Going.
Yeah, it's a neat little split screen text adventure here. You're in a control room. You can see, you're in a dimly lit corridor. You can see nothing interesting. Lots of dimly lit corridors, I take it, huh?
And then the badge.
In a gymnasium, and you can see a badge. Look badge. It says security pass. What will you do?
I highly advise you, instead of leaving like you actually put up.
So this is good. This is a very classic text adventure. Actually, it's an enhancement of a classic text adventure because the split screen element is a little bit of an improvement of the usual just continual scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
A robot turns and blasts you with a phaser. Try again. You're in a science lab. You can see a robot, and before you can react, you're dead. Huh? You saw it and you died.
Yeah. Now, if you had actually picked up the security badge, the game would have continued.
There you go. That's cool though. No, these are really neat, and definitely a sign of the times. These were common type games that we played, and some of us made too. So yeah, I like it. Yeah. I like what you did with the poke there too. So you kept the orange background at all times.
Yes.
Neat.
So if Space Lab was Star Trek, Explorer was more, well, you'll see by the music. If you can hear it. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yep.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah, that's cool. Now, were you already musically educated as a teenager where you knew the notes and everything to make that music?
No, I had to just figure it out. You may have just noticed there, but it asked for a name, and I put in
Stevie. It said
Stevie.
Stevie. Okay, in this game, you are the captain of a large spaceship called Explorer on its way to Saturn. You may move about the ship by entering north, south, etc. You may also do things like two-word commands like wear spacesuit or examine box. You're in a control room. The walls are a metallic white. You can see an input terminal. A metallic voice says, "There's a priority message, Stevie. You better read it." And you read the message. Captain Stevie, your ship computer, codenamed DAC, is faulty. You are to deactivate it immediately. Note, don't let DAC know.
You can go trying to figure out how to deactivate this thing.
Yeah, okay, you see nothing interesting. What will you do? Okay, a metallic voice says, "I read the message, Stevie, and I can't let you do that to me." I'm sorry, Dave, but I'm afraid you can't do that right now.
Yeah. So all sorts of homicidal computer activity.
That's a cool theme for a text adventure.
Yeah. I advise you to avoid the turbo lift I would avoid that in this game. Once the computer knows you're out to get him, of course, he has control of all functions of the ship. So you got to look out.
Hey everybody, this is Bill Noble, co-author of Nitrous 9. You are listening to CoCoTALK Live, the leading live CoCoTALK show.
Astro Dodge, mostly machine language routines in a basic framework.
Yeah, and this I had lost all code and all track of this game, and I was so excited to find it on the Color Computer archive because I digitized my 17-year-old voice into the game, and as you'll hear it when I fire it up here. It was like a ghost of my early self speaking back to me.
Astro Dodge.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's through the cassette port. Of course, it sounds like crap, but
Instructions. Avoid the asteroid using your joystick to fly.
yeah.
You're about to fly your ship through many dangerous asteroids fields. Do not let your ship hit an asteroid. Each asteroid you pass is worth 5 points. The field becomes thicker the longer you fly. Each 1,000 points you increment. You must cross a foreboding galactic barrier. Hit the totally blue asteroids to get bonus ships. May you fly well.
So it's scrolling only on the left-hand side of the screen, so that's
Yeah.
the ship code.
Ready to fly?
Ready to fly. Oh, it's scrolling very quickly. Ooh, and yeah, the semi-graphics explosions are quite good there too.
Ready to fly?
It really does need a joystick. I'm trying to do this with a mouse here, and I'm just... I'm dead again.
Ready to fly?
No, apparently I am not ready to fly.
Game over. Play again?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And just for Bruce's sake here, I've actually got that particular shiv T&D.
Oh, look at that. Hold on, Curtis. Let me make your picture big there. There you go. Look at that was a pretty nice packaging there with the label. The T&D number 48, huh?
Yeah, and then on the inside of the label, besides the little cassette guide as to where to find it, that little instruction card
Ah,
is folded out. So
very cool.
I just thought Bruce would like to see that because that's actually is the one he was on.
Wow. See, I don't even have a copy of that. I don't even have the original the cassette from them. It's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
So,
I have to bring it down to the fest and get it autographed.
Hi, this is Mark Overholzer, and you're listening to CoCoTALK, the nation's leading weekly live talk show about the Tandy Color Computer.
So, so after high school, I was diverted into my other love, music and audio production, but I still used my CoCo for a while. And you see a picture here of Lyra. That was very handy for some of the music composition courses I was in, because not being a piano player, I couldn't just sit down and play this stuff, but I could put it on the screen on Lyra and have it play back, and very handy.
Now,
And
did you use Lyra with just the built-in sound, or did you actually have like a MIDI board or anything? Or
I occasionally borrowed a MIDI keyboard and ran a cable to it. I didn't have my own MIDI keyboard for a while, but there were some nice folks in college who lent it to me. But it worked well enough to use the internal sounds for what I was doing. Wasn't using it for performance or anything. So I was still using the CoCo, but I wasn't really writing anything anymore. And I grew up, I guess, and bounced between music and the IT world for the next couple of decades. But then in the fall of 2016, my brother bought me a working CoCo 2 from a pawn shop for $5.
What a deal, eh?
Yeah, it even had the old black joysticks and some cables and whatever. And he says, hook it up. And so he plugged it in. It's like, well, now what? And so I'll get out my box of cassettes here. And most of them actually still worked after all these years. So I started loading up old code. And I don't know if you guys remember that game, Realm of the Naga. That was,
yep.
Boy, did I love that game. We fired that up and played that for a while. And
was this a younger brother or an older brother?
Younger brother. Yeah.
So did he play a lot of the games you made then when you were...
Well, they were my initial testers, yeah. I specifically made traps in those games that I knew would get them.
Yeah. Way
Like
to screw with your siblings through computer games.
I mean, in one of the game you pick up a laser gun. So I know one of my brothers, he's going to run around shooting everything and, shoot wall, shoot this. And of course he'll say, I don't understand. But when he shot the glass of the observation deck, it blew out and threw him into space. Game over, I did that specifically for him because I knew he would do it. So
that's funny. Yeah, I mean, my kids do that to me now in Minecraft. They set traps for me, so.
Payback.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, that was my brother Dallas, actually, who did most of the traps on it. And he shows up in the extended commercial. He's the guy who dies again in Forest of Doom, you'll see. But anyway, so speaking of which, I still had that first game that I started coding on, and I was really only learning how to code when I tried doing Forest of Doom on my 4K non-extended basic. And I had lots of imagination, but I didn't really know what I was doing. So, 4 next loops were kind of, that's about all I knew pretty much, and what variables were. So I found the code and still had it and loaded it up. And, it was really tempting to rewrite the thing from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just because I would look early in the code, I would look and say, well, why? Man, that was a really weird way to code that. Why did I do that? And then later on in the code, I'd be looking on a later piece, and I would see I did it kind of the more proper way. And it's because I didn't actually know how to do it the proper way.
Right. You could almost see the evolution of your learning through the writing of the software.
Yeah, exactly. And every time I made an edit or two to fix something else blew up. So it was really, but I kept at it. And I thought, well, I'm going to try and make something a little more of this. But what really made the difference for me was discovering that there was still a CoCo Fest in the CoCo community. At that point, it's like, oh, there's other people who might actually understand why I want to do this and might even want to play it,
Right.
Playing games on the CoCo. So I had to go to CoCo Fest, and I decided to go all out and get myself an exhibitor table and get a working demo, functional in time for CoCo Fest.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so that's where I met most of you guys there.
Yeah.
Now, is your brother still a beta tester?
Yeah. In fact, there's a few features in the final version of CoCo, Forest of Doom, which he suggested, like, oh man, I wish there was an experience bar on this so I could tell how close I was to the next level. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, I think I know how to do that. So I I'll throw that in.
That's awesome.
You had a few really good ideas that I just kept throwing them in until got to my cutoff point where I just no more new features. I don't want to.
Right, feature creep.
Bug free.
I tell you what I do like about hearing this so far is that you really, what's happening is you've got the original heart and soul of the program intact. So the fact that you didn't change it and the fact that you didn't rewrite it means that basically this is the literal completed version of your original vision. And we don't always have that luxury. Rick Adams did not have that luxury with Bomb Threat because he lost the source code. So not taking anything away from that, but you were very fortunate that you had the original source, and so the soul is there. It has not lost its soul.
Yes.
And so that's very cool. It's just so amazing when you go back 2 slides and you see that picture of the old cassette. Just looking at the picture of the Radio Shack cassette tape with the handwritten, writing on the line what was on that tape. It's just, God, it just brings back these memories and the things we did, and I am so jealous that you have some of your original source code because I have none of mine. Not that my stuff is any good. I just wish I had it,
Yeah.
It's so awesome that what we're going to experience now is the completion of that 30-year dream,
Now, do you still have the original code base that you did way back when, and how does it compare with your final product now, like with all the stuff you've learned in the meantime?
Well, the original code is in there. It's like in Tron, the guy who wrote the master control program, and then it grew to this big thing.
Yep.
But the core is still the same. It's still the same code, Whenever I started to tinker with it a little bit, it would blow up. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to have to leave it alone. I'm just going to have to build
around it instead.
Pieces around it and just leave it else, because it just kept blowing up on me too much. So
basically, your core game is still the same as it was. You just added and extended to it. You didn't.
That's right.
Radically change the way it played or anything.
Right. It's having to go to an inn. The whole gameplay is all the same. The inn just got way more interesting.
Okay.
A lot more going on there, and then there was a few, like the windscreen was lame. Like, you win, play again. Like, that was
okay. Right.
You know. So, but the essence of the game is still there. The 14-year-old D&D mindset is still in the heart of the game.
So was the original version basically complete then?
Well,
I mean, did you just add enhancements to make it better, or was it a game that was only partly finished before you stopped?
Well, let's say it would have been a sort of a beta. It would have been a beta test version that was rather buggy.
Okay, but it was basically feature complete then. It was basically a complete game already.
Essentially, I did have all the pieces in place, and and then it was essentially
okay. That's cool, because I originally had assumed up until just now that you had gotten it up to a certain point, didn't know how to program certain parts of it, and just kind of stopped, and it was never a game completely, unto itself. It was just like part of a game. But it sounds like you actually had it basically done, and then you just enhanced it.
Yeah, I mean,
I shouldn't say just, but
yes, it was a mess. It's not something that it was a mess.
Spaghetti code.
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. But I left it behind, because when we got our CoCo 2 at home, it had graphics. So I started experimenting with that stuff, and I just kind of, moved on. And besides, I'd learned how to code better. So
sure.
Let's move on to coding better. So yes, off to CoCo Fest. And then I started doing semi-graphics. So here's the Forest of Doom title screen. Thank you to Simon Jonason so much for his help with this. I still use the old graph paper method, but he had his tool. He says, well, hey, I've got this online tool, SG Edit. You could just draw it on there, and it'll spit out the data. And so it spit the data out, and it's like, whoa. And then, well, okay, now I got to figure out what to do with this data. And he says, oh, well, just send it to me. Here. Okay. I pasted into a message, and 30 seconds later, he sends me back a bin file. Here you go. Oh, wow. Do you think you could do a few more of those for me? Oh, sure. So he actually translated the graphics, all the semi-graphics for me. And really, I'd never imagined Forest of Doom having this kind of, I mean, this isn't high-res graphics, but this really does add something.
Right. It's almost kind of like you're loading up an image. This is like the early versions of like a bitmap or a JPEG, but it's a semi-graphics text screen image that you can just load right up.
Yeah, that's exactly. And so, of course, it saves time. You just leave it on your disk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there we go.
Display and someone playing away there.
That was Eric playing the game, right, on the laptop.
Eric there, yeah.
And that's still your original library CoCo 1 there too, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the 4K CoCo. I still got it. It still works.
Yeah, those things are like tanks, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
There we are.
So
extended commercial, Stevie.
We are ready for the extended commercial of Forest of Doom.
Only the bravest souls enter. Only the most cunning return. Defeat innumerable monsters to ransom the king's scepter, stolen by the evil wizard. Your sword, shield, and wits are your only allies. Pray you find a magical inn as your only respite in the Forest of Doom.
Visibility doesn't work. Wore off too soon. I got him! 7 shadows. What do they do again? Where's that handbook? Oh, I didn't even notice that! I didn't even see my strength was that low. Oh, I didn't make it out of the forest. I'm dead. Oh, I still haven't won.
There is some small cause for hope. An ancient tome containing the secrets of this deadly wood may guide you from peril to victory. Available through fod.gracenote.ca.
Oh man, that is cool.
So that was your brother?
Yeah, that's my brother Dallas. Yeah, still playing my games, still testing them out.
Does he have his own CoCo, or does he have to come borrow yours?
Oh, he has to come over to my place. Let's see here. If I share this screen again. What do we got? I think I got a couple more slides here, right? Oh yes, November 4th. Release to the masses with a contest. So that mug you see there will only be one. The first to conquer the Forest of Doom. Contest details are on the website there, but the first person who sends me proof, which I a screenshot of the winning sequence and a picture of their receipt from Lulu. I will have this mug manufactured and sent straight to them, and that will be the only one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So there's a real world prize.
Real world prize.
Yeah.
Carrying on a great CoCo tradition, because Gates of Delirium by Dicom did the same thing. Now back then the market was a lot bigger, so the first prize was a CoCo 3. Woo. But it's nice you're carrying on that tradition, that if you manage to make it all the way through an incredibly intense game, then you actually get a reward for it.
Yeah. And someone was asking, who was asking if there was a save function? Someone was.
That was me last night.
Yeah. Oh, this is old school. Once you're in the Forest of Doom, the best you can do is pause.
Okay.
You can pause the game, you can sit in the inn, but otherwise you're all in or you're all out.
So don't play it during a heavy thunderstorm, or you might get really, really frustrated.
Yeah, that might not go well.
Right, unless you have a battery backup, right? So we're going to go to the website, which is fod.gracenote.ca. That's where we can go to order.
Yeah.
That will link you to where you can buy the book, which I'll show here in just a minute. And the book is the strategy guide to the game, and it's very well made. And the book also has the link where people can then go to download the disc image as well as the soundtrack.
Yeah. Should we mention that promo that's on until tomorrow?
It was up on the slide, but just for the benefit of anybody who's going to listen to this. Well, by the time they hear it, the promo's going to be over.
That's true.
So
yeah.
Screw them. Yeah. You lost out. You lost out, you lazy listeners.
Hey, this is Bruce Moore, author of Forest of Doom, and you're watching the original gamer, Stevie Stroh.
Lulu puts these things up every once in a while anyway, these discounts, so maybe there'll be another one soon.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the Forest of Doom soundtrack. Tell me if it's too loud for you guys.
Nope.
Okay.
Not so far, but we have to hear everybody talk before we can determine that or not.
Hello, my name is Grant Leedy, and thank you for watching the CoCoTALK with your host, Stevie Stroh. You got your CoCo 3 yet?
All right, so I'm gonna make my camera big here for a second, and I want to show you guys the book. All right, so it's a very nice glossy front and back, very nice package for the book. And for some reason, the lighting in my office has gotten really crappy lately, so things look like garbage, but it looks a lot better. So you can see the cover. When you open the whole book up, you can see the whole scary tree. He takes up the front and back. And I love that scary tree. And I'm not trying to brag, but I'm bragging. Mine actually has an autograph that says, "All the best, Stevie Strobridge," from Bruce Moore. Of course, now my camera's having a focus issue. All right, much like me, I have focus issues. So let's take a look through the book here. Grace Note Productions. So you get to an acknowledgement where you acknowledge Simon Jonason and Mark Marlette for fixing your CoCo. You also talk about thanks to Dallas and Clayton Moore, my primary testers, and Reg McMillan. You also give credit to the CoCo Crew podcast for fanning the CoCo flame, and to your CoCoTALK gang, which is us, and to your beta testers, David Ladd. Once again, David Ladd is immortalized in this community. He's now in a book. David Ladd as a beta tester, Rick Morrison, and Dallas Moore. I guess that's your brother, huh? Dallas? That's a cool name. I wish the lighting was better, where you could actually see this. I can't get it too close to the camera, but here's the introduction page here, and the artwork in this is really good. This really reminds me, I know you said this game is inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, but it definitely reminds me of that. So when you get inside these pages here, you can see the overview, chapter 1, the forest, and an overview, and it kind of gives you a little history. You get the backstory of the king and his evil wizard brother and what's going on to all of this. So the backstory is really interesting. It gets into explaining the size of the forest, that there are signs in the forest, there are traps in the forest, and there are even statues which have been basically people turned to stone by Medusa. Now there's a cool feature in here called X marks the spot, where if you're playing on a higher level of difficulty, you might find a tree with an X on it and a shovel. And if you dig, you've got a chance to find something good or something bad. So I like that. Spin the wheel and see what we get, you know. You could get a pot of gold, a bundle of spells, a magical strength boost, a magic sword, or you could just get a whole bunch of mean monsters who will leap out and attack. And then we get into, again, the illustrations in here, really nice. The overview of monsters. Now, the story to this is that somebody found this book and gave it to you, you being the person in the game, right? So the king, the story of the king was, okay, so the king is basically picking somebody out of the crowd saying, hey, you, go into the Forest of Doom and try and get my scepter. Now you, being Bruce or whoever is playing the game, is now forced to try to get the scepter from the wizard, but somebody says, hey, I found this book, and this book was written by somebody who, you know, survived on a previous quest, and so you have this tome here, which is pretty cool. And it talks about the monsters, and it says that the monsters are listed in order of awfulness. I love that. The book is what was handed to you, that was basically summoned by somebody who's survived a previous quest. And then this part of the book reminds me very much of a monster manual from Dungeons and Dragons, where you have a list of the cool illustrations and some of the stats and abilities of the different monsters, including just some notes on what might make them interesting or something to look out for. So and some of them are kind of humorous. So there's a goblin. So like it says, a goblin's special abilities is blending into treetops. But then you get into something like the ghouls, and the ghouls' special ability is incredibly bad breath, which I thought was pretty funny. When you talk about a skeleton, it says skeletons are the animated dead, quite possibly raised by the wizard himself. They may actually be the remnants of zombies. And special abilities, it says, having endured the ultimate weight loss program, they can move rather quickly. And they're immune to sleep spells. The skeletons never sleep. The special abilities of a zombie, they can smell fresh brains for miles and immune to sleep spells. Special ability of the giant spider, extreme creepiness. Special ability of the half-orc, none, just general nastiness. Special ability of the ogre, very loud belches. And as you flip through here, I mean, it's just the artwork, the illustrations are just really nice. So the design of this book and this manual is very well done, and the printing quality is really top notch. So, you know, I could go on and on about all these different things in here. Gargoyle. It says special abilities.
Get it.
Yeah, a statue that moves, that seems pretty special. So there's your gargoyles. And then you have your dragon. Breathing fire with the enhanced sense of smell. Invisibility is not effective on your dragon. And we have our ultimate boss here, the Barlog. I'm not sure how well that picture is going to show up here. But the Barlog looks incredibly evil. And the Barlog says he has incredible power and resistance to magical spells. He can see through invisibility. He cannot be killed unless its opponent has a magical sword of great power. Then you get into spells. So you've got different spells you can use. A charm spell to turn enemies into friends. An invisibility spell where you can steal treasure. A sleep spell where you can put your enemies to sleep. Then we get into your leveling up. So there's like an experience point, an XP leveling system where you can increase your strength, your attack power, your damage, spell power, and resistance. Very cool stuff. And then we get into the magical inns. You want to talk about the purpose of the inn? So the inn is like a safe haven you can find when you're exploring the forest.
Yeah. Yeah, the inn is the only way to get your strength back. As you fight, you lose strength. As you travel, you lose strength. Small amounts.
Okay.
But the inn, if you go there, you can get regenerated, and he'll only charge you what is fair. So if he sees you got a lot of money, he'll charge you an awful lot.
Okay.
But he occasionally has tidbits of information which are rather useful, like, hey, I heard the castle is somewhere north of here. You know, like you have no idea where this castle is.
Okay.
You just thrown in there. Or he'll tell you things like we just read here, like, you know, you can't kill a Balrog unless you got a magical sword. But he also tells you how to get a magical sword.
Ah, okay.
You know? Occasionally he gives you these little hints, and occasionally he has a very rare item for sale, which can be very useful in completing your quest.
Cool.
Not absolutely necessary, but if you get it, it could really help.
Okay, I have one question on your sleep spell there, though. Is that like the incantation for the spell? Is that David reciting one of his floppy talks, or?
That's not fair. That is not fair. Hello, I am David Ladd, and you are watching CoCoTALK, the nation's leading live CoCo podcast.
Now, here's what I love, that you have different inns, but one of the inns, and this showed up on one of your commercials, is called the Heron Point Inn, which is a nod to where we have CoCo Fest at. An extremely rare inn which will provide you with your ransom money. So tell us the deal about the money. So the king's ransom, when you first are put in the Forest of Doom, the king gives you all the money you need to meet the wizard and say, okay, here's your ransom, here's the money, give me the damn scepter back, I got to bring it to the king. However, things don't work out quite as well, and you don't end up having that ransom by the time you're in the forest, right?
Yeah. Well, the deal is that you as soon as you enter into the forest, some bandits, steal your money, and you got nothing. But the thing is, if you go back to the king without the scepter, like everybody else, it's you're dead. Off with your head, on to the next victim kind of deal. So you have to accumulate the money yourself. And of course, this is the whole, as you battle monsters, you can pick up some of their loot.
Okay.
And,
So you're fighting for your life as well as fighting to regain the treasure to accumulate the ransom you need to get the scepter. Your goal is to survive, get the scepter, get out, and bring the scepter back to the king.
Yeah, and sometimes you're set upon by a bunch of monsters, and there's no way you're going to defeat them, but you can offer them a bribe. And so you've been busy accumulating all this money, but oh my gosh, a Medusa is here, and they haven't unveiled their face yet. And if you don't think you can get away from them, you just offer them all the money you got, or else you're done, And then you got to start building the money up again. So there's all sorts of things going to happen. You have to make a lot of strategic decisions. And depending on the difficulty level, you got to be even more strategic. If you're playing on, nightmare level, for instance, you really have to pick your battles carefully. So.
Hi, I'm Kieran Anscombe, author of XRAW, and your brain is resolving sensory input into CoCoTALK.
Right. So it says here when you get to the castle, which I'll show a picture of here. So when you get to the castle, if you have the full ransom, whatever the ransom, what is the ransom? 5,000 gold or something like that?
5,000, yeah.
So let's say you've got 5,000 and you walk in with 5,000, the wizard will say, okay, I'll take your 5,000, here's your scepter, now get out of here, kid. If you had 10,000, he's going to take all your money. So you don't walk out of this with any change in your pocket.
No.
Now, is there a possibility that after you get the scepter and you're trying to make your way back? Now, does he magically teleport you back to the wizard, or do you have to manually get through the Forest of Doom and get out again?
You have to fight your way out of the forest.
Okay, so you could still possibly lose your life. You could still possibly get robbed.
Yeah. Like my brother in the video clip there, he had the scepter. He was on his way out, and he just slipped up. He lost focus.
Yeah.
He lost focus. He didn't realize his strength was so low, and that's why he wasn't just putting on the dejection there. Like, he thought he was going to win, and he did, and he just in the last minute he died. So.
Okay. You get into your special items, which is a magic sword, which is the only weapon that's useful against the Barlog, and then you have a mirror, which will protect you against Medusa. I like that you've got some of the mythology creatures in there. You've got like the Minotaur, and you've got Medusa and stuff. You get into your spells. The spell book here, very cool illustration there. So you've got the teleport spell, you've got a strength spell, and you've got a misfire. So what happens? You're trying to fire. Is a misfire like a dud spell?
Yeah. Well, those aren't your normal spells. That's only if you buy some strange.
Oh, a
chance.
spell book. Oh, spell
if
book.
You wander into the inn and he says, "Hey, I've got this old book here for X number of gold pieces. If you get a hold of that, that's then you get options like, basically you try use the spell book." You do an incantation, and one of those 4 things will happen.
Oh, so you're buying a book, but you don't know what the book's going to do.
Yeah,
and
so if you're in a really tough spot, you might try it, but...
Right, and one of them is called a misfire, so instead of anything good happening, a bouquet of butterflies just poofs out of the book, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so yeah, that would be a little bit disheartening, I would think. Well, before I die, I saw something pretty.
Hey, have you got your CoCo 3 yet? Hi, this is Rick Adams, author of Temple of Ram and Shanghai, and you've tuned into CoCoTALK, the nation's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer.
You have some strategies in here, like staying on the perimeter, staying on the outside of the forest until you reach at least level 6. It says, don't worry about rats. If you don't want to fight them, you can bribe them with 3 gold pieces. Look out for inns. Have an inn handy. If you keep stepping off the map and onto a new screen and then back again, an inn will eventually appear. So the inns appear randomly. So you can almost, if you kind of keep playing around and force an inn to appear.
They're semi-randomly. Because
Okay.
if you're deeper in the forest, you're more likely to get an inn. There's a little bit of grace extended to you.
Right. So there is there's different levels that you can get depending on what difficulty level you did. So if you play the game on difficulty level 1, which is known as a challenge level, and you survive, you're known as the Duke of Doom. If you play on level 2, you will be, if you survive with the scepter, you're the Prince of Doom. And then finally, if you play on level 3, Nightmare, you are the Regent of Doom. So you have different titles for doing that. So yeah, and then you get into a little bit of the history of, kind of what you told us on what, the history of the game and things like that. So definitely a cool story, a cool project, and a cool game.
And a cool distribution method where you buy the book and then get the game for that.
Yeah, so it's buy a book, get a game free.
Hi, this is Randy Kindig of the Floppy Days podcast. I just love me some CoCo, and nobody covers it better than Steve Strobridge. You're listening to CoCoTALK.
And it's a cool book. And it's this is kind of like getting back to when we were talking about the Rainbow magazine last week or so. Having something in your hands is kind of nice and collectible. There's I don't know if Nick is still with us. Nick is, I see his pretty face there, but I'm not sure if he's still on the call. But you can look at possibly having the cartridge as something tangible. That's kind of cool. Nick did very well with distributing Popstar on a CD, where the CD itself became something tangible, and he added some value added to it with movies and extra games. There's definitely value added here because you've got the book. I mean, that's the value. It's almost like you're getting the game for free, or you're getting the book for free, however you look at it, right? So. Very cool. It's very well made. The book, looking at the inside, it's very well written, very well laid out, and the actual printing and publication is super good quality here. So even on the back, there's a barcode, and you've got an ISBN number for this and everything. So this is like a real book. This is a real book, right? So, yeah.
I have a quick question for you on the manual. Like you said, you had the core of the game done even back when you were a kid. Did you actually have a manual started too, and this is a continuation of that as well, or is this brand new?
No, I just had a few instruction screens. You saw what my instruction screens looked like. I've since updated them. Yeah, if Stevie, are you gonna fire it up for a little bit, or what are you?
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that right now.
The instruction speeds are kind of they're a little better now.
Okay. So right now we are looking at a kind of game over slideshow here. So Forest of Doom is a turn-based escapade, highly influenced by Dungeons and Dragons. Did I say that word right? Escapade? Escapade? I don't know. Escapade. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Okay, English is my second language. Here's our title screen here, The Forest of Doom. Press any key to play. Yeah, so there's actually a kind of a game over attract mode right now, huh?
Oh, yeah. A demo. Well, it's the demo. So the demo.
Okay. The evil wizard has stolen the king's scepter, demanding 5,000 gold pieces as ransom. You are given the gold and sent to find the wizard's castle deep within the Forest of Doom. All right, press the key.
You're starting the demo right now.
Yeah, okay, one moment, please. Can you hear it any better?
Yep.
Okay. I like the intro music. Instructions, sure, let's see the instructions. Okay, the evil wizard has stolen the king's scepter, demanding 5,000 pieces of gold as his ransom. You are given the gold and sent to find the wizard's castle deep within the Forest of Doom. Alas, you were waylaid by bandits and robbed of the gold. Should you return without the scepter, you will be beheaded. So you venture on with only a note from the wandering minstrel, which reads, "Beware, the forest is magical and will change as you travel. It is full of monsters. The deeper into the forest, the more terrible they become." Okay, here we go. This little map will help you. T is a tree, a dot is a path, I is an inn, and an equal sign is a wall to go around. Thankfully, you have a sword and shield and courage. Defeat monsters and claim their gold. Whatever you do, keep moving. Good luck. Okay, so there's a symbol for the map. Okay. T is a tree, dot is a path, I is an inn, and an equal sign is a wall that we need to get around. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to do level 1 challenging, which is just the easiest. All right, level 1 challenge. Ooh, okay, so here's the map. Okay, and P is pause?
Yep.
Okay, so you can pause the game. Now, is the game real time, where if you stand still, things will walk onto the screen?
Yeah, if you don't pause it and you just walk away, a monster just could show up and attack you, yeah.
Okay, so right now, so I see a grid in my top left-hand corner, and is this the area of the map that I'm in?
That's right.
Okay, the T's are trees.
Yeah.
Can you walk through a tree?
Yep, you just walk over top. You're watching through the trees, essentially. So.
Okay, so the blue square is me?
Yeah.
Okay, you hear light footsteps. 2 pixies suddenly stand before you. Okay. Fight? Hit 2 for fight? Why not?
They cast a spell on you already.
Okay, you're knocked to the ground. Fight. You chop one to the side. You're knocked to the ground. It's real time, huh? Just going to keep hitting fight. You slash with your sword. A clean miss. Fight. Your sword goes through one. You're hit. Fight. Keep fighting. You missed. You dodged the blow. You missed. 1 falls dead. You have taken 12 pieces of gold and 0 spells. Okay, so it's kind of turn-based, but it's like real time. So they're attacking me, and I'm attacking back. So I already felt the tension there, because I'm like, oh, dude, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Am I going to fight? Am I going to bribe? Now, when you start off, you don't have any spells, right? So your choices is to...
roguelike.
Oh, you do. You do. You see them on the far right there?
I started with spells. You start with spells?
Charm, invisible, and sleep.
Yeah, 1 of each.
Okay. Now, here's my strength. The strength is kind of like my overall energy, like my hit points.
I guess, sure. Yeah.
Does it affect your attack as well? Like, is it kind of a combination of hit points and strength?
No. No.
All right, so
just
you hear loud footsteps.
Oh,
no. A vampire. Okay.
You are so unlucky.
I'm gonna hit 4 to run. You got away.
Oh, you're very lucky. But see, you should be moving towards the inn.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'm experimenting with the map right now.
Okay.
Okay. So I have to go through the trees. I should take the path to the inn. You hear light footsteps. A giant rat grabs you. Okay. Let's run. You got away. Okay. So I'm going to go one more step over, and I'm going to go to the inn. All right. I'm in the inn. Now, do I hit anything? Oh, here we go. Welcome to the Midnight Briar Inn. You've spent 1 gold piece. Okay, and so what did that do? Did that bring my strength all the way back up, or?
It will, yeah.
So I press X to continue? Okay. I have the mirror. Do I want the mirror?
You sure do, but you don't have the money.
I've got 12 gold.
Keep you safe from the Medusa.
Ah.
Try saying yes. Say yes anyway.
Wait, you're trying to rip me off? Get out of here! Now the inn is gone. The inn is gone. The inn disappeared.
Oh, it's a magical inn.
Okay, so explain something to me right now, what I'm looking at. I'm looking at 1 grid of the map.
Yep.
And you're saying this map is like 20 by 20.
Yep.
Okay. So and so I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 9? Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 by 5?
5 or 6, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is one piece of the map that I see where I am. I see that there are some walls I can't go past. I can walk through trees. I can walk through a path or the open spaces. If I leave the screen, I'm going to go to a new area of the map.
Yep.
And because of where I've been dropped in the map, I don't know where I am. I don't know if I'm on the perimeter or if I'm in the middle right now, right? Or
Well, the one clue is the number of trees. You notice there aren't that many trees?
Okay.
Right? There's more paths and walls. When you start getting deeper into the forest, you can tell because suddenly there are a lot more trees.
Okay, so I'm somewhere closer to the outside of the forest.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
of course, the more trees there are, the more chance of running into monsters. So
Actually, I got a question for you, Bruce.
Yeah.
So it's a set map, or is it randomized?
Sort of.
It has lots of random elements. I got Steve just lucked out on getting another inn here.
Another inn, but I got no money. But we'll go ahead and see what the inn has for us.
Yeah. So if he was to go back immediately to the other screen, it wouldn't look exactly the same. And the inns aren't always the same.
I said I found 2 inns.
Yeah.
Are the tree and wall placements the same then? It's just the magical bits that change?
No,
Welcome to the Jumping Lizard Inn. I like how they have different names. Okay. The innkeeper says he heard if you kill a dragon, you may earn a magic sword. So that's one of your little tips that they give you, huh?
Yes, that is
Okay.
the way to get a magic sword.
Okay, you have to kill a dragon.
Or if you play on a higher level of difficulty, you could find one at an X marks the spot.
Okay, so right now, even if I'm walking through open spaces, could I walk into an area with monsters?
You could, but it's far less likely.
Okay.
There's only one tree on. Like you must be right near the edge. There's only one tree. Oh, well, there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
So we still don't know. The innkeeper still hasn't given you a hint to which way the castle is. Although you occasionally run across a sign.
And the sign will be obvious when I see it on the...
Oh, yeah. It'll be
You hear light footsteps. Okay, let's see. 2 goblins pounce on you. Now, do I want to try to bribe them? No, I want to fight them.
Wait, watch. Just wait a second.
You
wait.
missed. Okay.
Hear that tone?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the tension. You have to make a decision before you get to the top of the tones. Okay, go ahead.
And then just attack on their own?
I just tried the charm spell and it didn't work.
Now, I guess one thing that's a little bit different between this and D&D is that there's no point really of mapping the game out if it's randomized.
Yeah, there's not that sort of... No, that's right.
Okay, what are these stars going across the screen?
That's your experience bar that my brother
Ah.
came up with. So when they get all the way across the screen, you're going to get up. You're going to jump a level.
Okay, so I've killed them. I got 32 pieces of gold and 0 spells. Okay, and I see here, and now this is automatically paused after the end of a victory, so if you needed to go run to the washroom or something, you could. All right, so I've killed a couple of pixies. I've killed a couple of goblins or whatever they were. I got 32 pieces, so now my gold, when I press X to continue, my gold count should go up. No, it hasn't. The gold still says 9. It says I got 32 pieces of gold. Where did they go?
I think you may have to move again to update.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Okay, so there you go. There's the legacy code for you. Yeah, that is it.
You hear light footsteps. 4 giant rats pounce on you. I am going to try to run away from the rats. You have been caught. Ooh, my luck ran out. Okay, let's fight. One falls dead. Fight. You bash one with your shield. You take a blow. You missed. You parry the blow. You missed. Clang! Your shield protects you. You missed. You're hit in the side. Fight. A head falls to the ground. You're hit in the side. You missed. You take a blow to the chest. One falls dead. A clean miss.
Your strength is dropping every time you get hit there, but
yeah,
it's not going
you
to
dodge
too
with
bad.
a blow. You miss. You're hit in the side. Fight. One falls dead. You're hit in the side. Fight. You missed. You're knocked to the ground. One collapses to the ground. You've taken 45 pieces of gold. Ooh, I like that. Okay, now I'm up to 86 gold.
You need 5,000. You got to waste.
Oh, I need an inn. Here's another inn. Okay. A stone figure of a terrified adventurer stands alone. Ooh. So that was a one of the Medusa things. Okay, so I'm going to go to the inn and see what happens here. Okay.
Maybe you'll get the heron.
5 giant rats. I'm going to try to run.
Can you move diagonally, or do you have to move in the 4 base directions?
Yeah, the 4 base directions. Yeah.
Okay.
I got away from the rats. Thank you. Okay, now we're in the inn. We are in the inn. I've gotten 3 inns. This is good.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Ornery Lizard Inn. You've spent 10 gold pieces. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Okay, the innkeeper says he heard a rumor of the Dark Castle being somewhere south of here. So that's going to be going straight down, right?
Yeah.
North is to the top?
Yeah, that's right. Huh?
I like it. I like it.
So when you hear and it says you hear light footsteps or loud footsteps or whatever, those are telling you just how tough the monster is that's coming.
Ah, light footsteps is something smaller and loud is something bigger.
So when you heard that heavy footsteps with a vampire, that was a very strong monster then.
Yeah. Like you were lucky to get away from that, actually.
Yeah. I like it. We don't want to probably show much more in this for the video, though, right?
No, this shows the basic gameplay. I think that's what we needed to see.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think you actually got a lot of the neat features. Like you actually saw the innkeeper offer you a rare item, and you got some good hints and that. So yeah.
And you got away from a vampire, so that's pretty darn good.
Greetings, YouTubers. Atari Leaf here, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
Okay, so here we have the website. The website is fod.gracenote.ca, Forest of Doom. This is where we can say there's a swag shop. So you've got, if I click on swag shop, this is where you can buy the cool T-shirts that have the creepy tree on it, right? So you can get T-shirts, short sleeve, long sleeve shirts, available in your choice of black, or black.
Kind of like Ford cars back in the day.
Oh no! So here you can drop down and choose colors. Ooh.
Oh.
So if I want royal blue, it actually looks pretty good on royal blue. Yeah, no, that's cool. So on the Forest of Doom website, you have the ability to buy a T-shirt. We have the trailer for this. We have a couple of different trailers there. And by the way, your promotional way you've been doing this with all your trailers has been great, Bruce. Very cool to watch this. And then right here we can click on Get Forest of Doom. And then this takes us to the link to buy the strategy guide. So, and then here's a picture of the mug. The first person who completes it is going to get this mug here that says, I am the first to conquer the Forest of Doom, and has your email address here, fod@gracenote.ca. And then if we click on Forest of Doom here, this will take us to the ordering site, which is a company called lulu.com. And the price is $14.99, which is a very fair price. The book is very nice. It looks like Mark Overholzer has already written a review. I'm going to have to do one too. A classic role-playing adventure game with graphics. Buy the strategy guide, get the game. Only if you dare.
Nice, thank you.
All right. And there's even a preview here now, kind of like what Amazon does. I mean, I want to say definitely congratulations on completing this, and I want to say thank you for letting us be the kind of launch for that. It's an honor. Truly is.
Thank you. Yeah, this has been great. This has been really great to relive my teens in a way, bring this thing all to completion, and I hope a lot of people have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I was having fun with it. I mean, I still have it open, so I might continue to play it.
Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS-80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
I do have a question for Bruce. Well, actually, I have a couple questions. The first question is, I mean, the trailers you did were of top-notch quality, like far beyond anything we've ever seen in the CoCo world before. Have you given any consideration for helping some of the other game authors for some of their stuff, and maybe helping them make such trailers, maybe even getting paid for it? Because, like I said, yours were like right up there.
Oh, they're awesome.
Someone wants to pay me to do that stuff? Yeah, I'm all in.
So how much do you charge, I guess, is the next question. Depending on the project, I guess, but yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah. No, that'd be fun, I guess. I'm like, I don't know who would want that sort of thing. I'm just being.
Well, if I ever make an OS 9 version of it, in a year or two, I might have to make a new trailer, because I probably will do it in higher res graphics and stuff, just to give it a bit of a difference instead of just a repeat. So.
Yeah. Well, let's figure that out then.
Yeah.
And then my big question is, of course, what does the D mean in your name?
David.
Okay.
And what's the L?
Lauren.
Okay, there we go.
Now what's funny about that is that is the exact same name they gave to Bill Bixby for the Incredible Hulk series.
David Bruce Banner. I know.
David Bruce Banner. So you're David Bruce Moore. Don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry.
Rest in VDG screen. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. It's the Incredible Hulk colored background screen on the CoCo.
Yeah, there's something there. If you sit in front of that green screen too long, you know what happens, right?
Yeah, you get angry.
Go green.
Gamma radiation infection.
Either that or a very good tan.
CoCoTALK will return after these messages.
What's going on, everybody? Original Gamer Stevie Stroh here, and if you're a fan of vintage computing and retro gaming, then you're going to love our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. There you will find custom designs by Instagram artist Joel M. Adams. You can get I'm a Coconut, CoCoTALK, and other cool video game images on a t-shirt, coffee mug, or mouse pad. So if you love retro, then head on over to the retro swag shop at 8bit256.com today. Tell them the Original Gamer Stevie Stroh sent you.
Hi, this is John Linville.
And Neil Blanchfield.
We are the CoCo crew. I hope you're enjoying watching Stevie Stroh play video games, especially the CoCo games. And when you're done with that, check out our podcast at CoCoCrew.org.
You are, I guess, in the planning stages of either a sequel or your next project, or have you decided yet what the next project's going to be?
Yeah, well, I've got an idea of a spin-off off of Forest of Doom where you actually... so you got the wizard and the king, and they're half brothers, and they've been ripping each other off, doing these stupid things for centuries to each other. And so if you complete this quest, then the next thing that happens is I was thinking would happen is we'd have an arena game where actually the wizard brings a bunch of his monsters to an arena, his team.
Okay.
And because you've won the Forest of Doom, the king appoints you to be in charge of his team.
Okay.
And so then you're going to have resources that you have to allocate. Like, geez, should I have 20 goblins and 1 troll, or should I have 2 trolls and 10 goblins? Something like that. And then you kind of throw them all in there, and they just have a big fight and see. And of course, if your team loses, the king is going to have your head cut off. So.
Almost sounds like Battle Chess meets Plants vs Zombies right there, like a tower defense style game. That seems pretty cool.
Something like that.
It would be, you just made me think. It would be cool to see a battle chess style game on the CoCo where you have these pieces that move and they have animated combat and stuff,
Yeah, because I think the only one we have like that right now is Varlock. So.
Mm-hmm.
I do have another project that I'm thinking I need to actually do first. That I need to complete, and it's actually another book.
Okay.
So not a book with a game thing, but one of the guys in our computer club back in the day got into some hacking. Okay, and he wants to remain anonymous, but he wrote a great narrative of the whole hacking scene. You know, just pre-internet, where it was all sort of bulletin board based systems and this sort of thing, and sort of the gradual how they started messing around with the telephone systems, and then started, you know, data pack and all this sort. Anyway, there's a whole lot of very interesting things happened in this story, and I think it's a great story. And I was only on the periphery of it, but it's a story that I want to put out in multiple formats. I've got the iOS version done, and I'd like to get a version on Amazon. And it's got the iOS version has got all sorts of extra content, like where I actually do audio drama readings of the text with special sound effects, like you hear the old dot matrix printers going in the background and the old and all that kind of stuff. And so that's, I'm thinking I really need to finish that. So maybe I'm going to put my energy towards that, and then I'll come back to maybe a Forest of Doom Arena. Of course, I was looking at Basic 09 as being the way to go for that. So those are just my thoughts now. We'll see what happens, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, data pack that's a word I haven't heard in a lot of years.
I might have actually ran into some of these people he's talking about, because I was kind of into that too for a while. So.
Yeah, there's when you were mentioning that, Curtis. See in this book, everybody like no real names are used, and so you may actually see I think some online handles are being used though. So you may actually recognize. It's quite possible you might recognize some of the online handles.
Yeah, I'll have to see. So you've got an iBooks version now, and then you're making a Kindle version as well.
Yeah, the iBooks version seems to be fully functional, and to do a Kindle version, I guess I'll have to link to special content, because I've got an interview with the original guy who wrote the story, with his face censored out, of course, and his voice modified, so you can't tell who he is, and because he is rather nervous. Like, I want to put certain photos in there, and he's like, "No, man, I just, I could still get in trouble."
There's still some heat. There's still some heat out there.
Some illegalities happened back then. I well know.
I don't think he would. But just out of respect for him, I want to make sure.
Oh, definitely.
Maintain his anonymity, and it adds a little bit of mystery to the whole thing, So.
Yeah. David Ladd.
Yeah.
So you were a beta tester for this, and you're mentioned in the book. You're credited in the book. So what was your beta testing experience like, and did you have fun with it?
Oh, I had fun. I died a lot.
No strategy guide. I didn't tell him anything. I just said, here. I didn't give him hints.
Okay. So you were going through the forest dark and blind.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you ever get to the point where you got the 5,000 and made it to the castle?
No.
Did you ever make it to being level 2 character?
I think I made it to 5 or 6.
Okay.
Well, it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's
at least until I died again.
Right. That reminds me of there was a South Park episode where they were trying to battle somebody in World of Warcraft, and the guy was so powerful they could never defeat him, so they just ran around killing pigs to get all the low-hanging fruit, killing a bunch of pigs to get the XP until they could level up to be strong enough to beat this guy. Sometimes, even in the modern games, there are things like that where you have to play. You have to play in the safe areas and build up before you venture. Like Ark was like that. We used to play this dinosaur game called Ark Survival Evolved, and you spend a lot of time on the beaches because there's not as many predators out there. And when you move deeper into the island, there's more predators and more danger. So you gotta spend time getting strong enough to face the bigger challenges, which is a cool element.
I went through that with Gates of Delirium as well, like the ICOM Ultima 3 clone, basically, and it was the same thing. You had to go slogging through a bunch of weaker monsters to try to get powerful enough to even survive a dungeon.
Yeah.
For some of the dungeons. So.
Yeah, Steve. Don't run away from the rats. Those are the easy targets.
Are they really? Okay.
Don't run away from the rats. Those are your XP.
Okay, that's
Run away from the vampires.
okay.
Yes.
Character building experience.
Run away! Run away!
Once you level up once you're leveled up pretty high, and if 20 rats descend on you, you really don't want to be hitting the fight button for the next 5 minutes, right? It's just like, oh man, I'll just pay him off and be on my way. Usually you got enough money, but it's not worth it,
Okay.
At least that's my experience.
So even though you will survive, it's just not worth the time it takes to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Is there an estimated? Do you have an estimated playtime? Like I know a lot of the adventure games back in the old days of the CoCo, like quests, they usually said would take 3 to 10 hours or 3 to 6 hours, whatever it was, and then some of the text adventure games might be 120 hours. Do you have a range of how long you think it would take once you get experienced enough to know what to do?
I suspect you could complete it in 2 on the regular level. If you're going to play it on the nightmare level, you better just I don't know how many
retire first.
You need a weekend or something. You got to be willing to tie up your computer for a while to do it on nightmare, because when I was testing it on nightmare level, basically all I did was fight rats for quite a while. I ran away from most of the monsters because there was never an inn in sight. It's just like, I'm not going to fight anything unless I've got an inn nearby, because you can go down so easy,
Right.
And you can't recharge then.
Yeah, and on nightmare level, the inns just don't come up that often.
Okay, so I'll definitely have to get to work within the next couple months of the OS9 version, so I can keep it running in a window while I'm doing some other stuff.
Hi, I'm Mike Rowan, and you're watching the original gamer, Stevie Stroh. And when you're done watching, come over and listen to the CoCo Crew podcast.
What are the requirements to run the program?
It runs in 32K, and I guess technically it's disk-based, so you're gonna want to play it on a SVC or an emulator.
Do you need extended basic, or is it all straight up color basic?
It's extended basic.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. The play command, I think, is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's extended. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, a 32K disk system would.
Yeah.
Suffice.
Yeah.
Now, are you doing a port for the Dragon, or having somebody on the Dragon side port it for you to put out, or?
There's been no. I'm not sure if anybody's even talked to me about that. Somebody might have. I can't say I've put any thought into it yet. I've just been trying to get it ready for launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think probably between Simon and Karen, between the two of them, they can probably port it.
Doing the weekend, just while one of them's playing the ultimate version, the other person can quickly patch it.
Always
hey,
possible.
and the machine language I used, that cassette that I showed earlier, the T&D cassette, on that was something called SCL. SCL, Structured Compiled Language. It allows you to write basic-like structured code. It only lets you do peeks and pokes and a loop and something else, but it compiles it down to machine code. And so I use that to very quickly write this little routine, and then dropped it in. So I didn't even use assembly. I used something from T&D Software to make.
So that subscription was a good investment then.
Yeah.
It did pay off. Yeah. Really.
Cool. So who else was big into these types of adventure games and role-playing games back in the day?
Me.
You mean from the panel here?
Yeah.
Well, me, obviously, I played Quest, I played Telengard, I played Gates of Delirium, Paladin's Legacy, Seventh Link, all the text adventure games.
Seventh Link.
Pyramid.
Pyramid. Yeah, I never finished Pyramid. I don't think I ever finished Pyramid or Racket 2. They're on my list.
Realm of the Nagas, of course. As you mentioned, that was an awesome one with all the different screens, and you'd go between the screens and stuff.
So you're saying on easy difficulty, Forest of Doom will take at least 2 hours?
I think so.
So that's a lot of YouTubing. You're going to have to break it up into chapters or something.
There's your content for the next week, Stevie.
Yeah, right?
Is there any CoCo 3 enhancements on this, Bruce? Like, do you have any palette changes or anything different that you do, or?
Well, it does check to see if there's a CoCo 3. I noticed it looked like your MAME was a CoCo 2 MAME.
Yes.
You were playing on? Yeah, because if it was a CoCo 3, it would have, after the title screen, asked you whether it was RGB or CMP.
Okay.
Would have checked for that. And I think there's a couple other things it will do. Like, for instance, when it draws the little map in the corner of the trees, it turns the high-speed poke on, the double speed temporarily while it draws the map, and then turns it off again because it's not really crucial for the rest of the game. But so it does take advantage a little bit.
Okay.
CoCo 3s.
That's good to know.
And I really like the music to it. And I like the fact that you hear the sounds, and I like the fact that it has this real-time feel to it, like a little nod to Dungeons of Daggereth. If you just sit there, you're going to be attacked, So, although instead of the A space L, at least now you can just press a single key to attack, run, or whatever the thing may be.
Well, from what I understand, he's basically written about a 10 or 15-minute soundtrack specifically for it. And he's got it set up so that if you pump in, like if you say playing it on your phone or an iPod or something like that, you can plug it into through the cassette port on the CoCo using the earphone jack. And he actually has audio on and off commands running during the game so that it'll actually will play that music in the background. So you set it on repeat so it doesn't stop. And then he will temporarily shut it off to do the sound effects in the game, and then it turns back on. So basically you have a full running soundtrack on a CoCo 1 or 2 while you're playing the game. Correct, Bruce? Since you're back.
Yeah. I apparently I locked up here. I'm just on my tablet now. But yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, you can play it through the CoCo and have that kind of full authentic experience, I guess, if you want to call it that.
And that's part of the link too, Bruce?
Say again?
The download link.
In the book?
Yeah, when you go to the download page, you download the DSK image, and then there's the MP3 soundtrack is there too. Yeah. So.
You know what? The only thing I'm not sure if it's in the book, but hopefully it's on the download page, is that when you have the disc image, I don't know where it says that you need to run FOD to launch the game. Is that on the download page?
It is on the download page, yeah.
Okay, because in the actual in the actual manual, that's the one thing that's missing is how to actually run the game.
Oh. Yeah.
So,
and it takes one disk image, or is it so big that it requires multiple? Or
no, it's just one disk image. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So yes, have fun. I highly encourage that you play it with the soundtrack going. In a semi-dark room, turned up really loud.
That's just like I used to play Phantom Slayer.
Well, would that work? Exactly. Would that cassette trick work on a CoCo 3 too? It should, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. As long as you got the earphone jack cable going to your cassette port, you're good.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try to do that tonight.
The cassette port plug for my player didn't. It slipped out sometimes, so your mileage may vary depending what device you're using, but yeah.
I couldn't help but hear a little snicker from David over there.
And we just call him Gutter Dave.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
All right.
I didn't say anything.
We just heard you snicker. We know what you were thinking, David. Very cool. Very cool. Well, again, I want to say it's been great, watching this story unfold, and it's been great to see you complete the project, and now we are able to enjoy the fruits of those labors. And I want to thank you for letting us, kind of launch it here on CoCoTALK.
Oh yeah, it's been. I wouldn't want to do it anywhere else. This has been an awful lot of fun, and I want to hear from guys. When the books start coming in, they start playing. I want to hear what happens to you guys. What?
How many orders? How many orders do you have so far?
Yeah, actually, that was a question I had for you, Bruce. Overnight here, how many do you know of?
Oh, well, there were 15 yesterday. I'm not sure what it is today. It could have gone up yet again today. I had an email from somebody. He's like, so do I have to wait for the book to download it? It's like, yeah, you do.
Nah.
This is very retro. Old days.
Yeah, you gotta wait snail mail, just like.
No, if it was even more retro, you would set up like a 1-900 number, like Sierra did, where you could call for hints.
Or sell a separate hint book afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's what you're getting with the book, right?
Yeah, it is a
You're
strategy
getting
guide. Yeah.
hints.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even a cheat. There's even a cheat in there, and you're allowed to use the cheat to win the game. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. It's all good.
Very
I look
cool.
forward to seeing who's going to win it first.
Unfortunately, that might be somewhat dependent on the speed of mail to different people. So
yeah.
Nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, I guess there'll be some variability there, but if there's a will, there's a way. Like, someone's willing to just start playing and not stop until they get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I might do that. I might do that tonight.
What if someone's prepared to look at the basic code and cheat?
Well, I'm really hoping that no one's going to cheat.
Curtis. But I was hoping there's some integrity there.
I'm not handing it to people on the silver platter because it's not like the windscreen is sitting on the disc, called windscreen, and it's not like it's you can just load it up and look at it. And I did put a couple of little safeguards in there just for the occasional. I mean, yeah, anybody who really knows what they're doing could hack it, but why don't you just play the game? It's more fun.
Yeah, it's more fun that way.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After I win it and I start porting it, then I'll start screwing around the source. But
okay.
For anybody who hacks the game, we have a mug for them that says "I'm a douche." Or just send them a douche bottle, an empty douche bottle. Here you go, you douche. No mug for you, but here's your summer's eve.
I hope you're bulk ordering those, Steve.
What's the matter, Bruce?
Oh, I'm just no, nothing's the matter. I'm just realizing this isn't live. I'm sure many of these comments.
That's got to stay in. That's got to stay in. That's not quite as it's not quite as good as the rainbow flag one, but it's okay.
That's an incentive itself. I'm going to get a douche mug.
I'm going to put this up on my mental. Look how many douche awards I've won this week.
Oh my goodness.
How many are you getting their don't worry, pass. David. How many are you getting, David?
Nick, that's just wrong.
Fred.
All right. Well, on that note,
are we done?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to top the douche comment there. So I think we're good. Anybody have anything legitimate they want to say to Bruce before we wrap this up?
Well, thanks for the game. Thanks for the excellent production value on the videos. I really do think that you could help some other people, make arrangements, whatever, to do that for some other game releases that are coming up the next year or two. I do want to port it to Nitrous 9 eventually, but I'll wait until people have won it and played through, because I don't know if I'd charge for that at that point. But maybe if you tell me who's legitimately had it, we can send them a copy, and if somebody wants to get it just for Nitrous 9 or OS 9, they can pay for the book and do the whole thing again. So I'll let you decide all that stuff.
Oh, okay, sure. That's cool. It's all cool.
I think it's great we're seeing people actually going to the effort of not only writing the game, but also going to all the effort of marketing it the way you've done and created a nice book and everything. It's like gives the market a bit of professionalism as well. So I think that's really good.
Like what I really find interesting about the marketing, like I know Nick's done pretty good marketing, and as far as manuals and stuff like that, I mean John Strong and John Linville and the rest have also done very good. But they've basically stopped at what retro was. I mean, they stopped at what we would have done in the 80s. I mean, color, the more expensive companies like Atomic stuff would give you color manuals on occasion and stuff. But you've actually taken a whole level further with these movie trailers and stuff like that. I mean, nobody did that back in the day because it wasn't even possible unless you, had a $50,000 studio or something. So you're escalating it to the next level, which is good.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting in a movie. I was at a movie a little while ago, and I'm sitting there, and these trailers come up, and as they're coming by, I was like, wait a second. That's what I should do for this game, because you can make this great game, but if people don't hear about it, like you got to somehow get people to hear about it, right? I want people to play the game, so why not and have a lot of fun with it, doing all those funny voices and
yeah. Right. Well, just the fact, I mean, we did a preview kind of semi in private last night, and how many copies you sold based on both the interview with you, your little presentation, and the fact that we've seen these trailers, coming, multiple ones over the last few months here. I think it proves that promotion is working.
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah, that's great. And we'll just see. Maybe when this hits the airwaves, maybe a few more will come in, and we'll see what happens. I think I've broken even now, so I think we're just good to go after that. So
I really think you should help Nick Marionettes with his Fun Star project.
That's not done yet?
Well, the game's done, but there's no movie trailer stuff done yet, so we just have to wait for that.
Yeah, right. Oh, well, we should get him to give me a ring. We'll see what we can do.
Yep, and then we'll play the Waltzing Matilda MP3 into the background while you're playing that one. So.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to wrap this up. And Bruce, once again, thank you. Thank you for what you've done for us, for the community.
Thank you.
I also want to say on my own note, I've got a lot of projects that I want to do. It's one thing to want to do them. It's another thing to actually stick to it and complete them and deliver them. So I want to give you a special bravo for that, because, managing our time and our priorities and our our various distractions in life, but staying focused. And I remember there's plenty of times where we were like, hey, you want to do something? You're like, nope, I got to go play Forest. I've got to work on Forest to do them, So when the kids were playing, you were home working on your project, doing your homework, so.
And I always thought he was just being a snob. But, I was wrong.
So that dedication just shows of your character too, and you delivered. That's the hardest thing, is to deliver,
Yeah, that is, but I got to give credit back to you guys, because I really wouldn't have gone for this if it wasn't for CoCoTALK and CoCo Fest and the CoCo crew, creating a space for this to happen. It really fired me up. I mean, I wouldn't have done it otherwise. It's just like, no, this is, go for it, go for it. And, and I've gone for it, and hopefully some more people go for it. Let's see some more stuff.
All right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up this interview. Grant, anything you want to say, or Mark Overholzer, or Karen, anybody want to say anything to Bruce before we go?
No, I think it's all been answered that I can think of.
I can't wait to play the official one.
Same here. I can't wait to play it. But one more question to the community. What else is coming up for this year in games wise?
Well, Timberman, right? Isn't that
Timberman is pretty well done, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it out officially yet, or is it still?
I think Paul released it, didn't he?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure
if
it's
it's really
released.
close, but I don't think it's quite ready yet.
Yeah, it's quite good. I got a sneak peek of that. It's pretty good.
We got the dragon ones.
We got plenty of stuff coming out for the dragon. We have dungeons for the dragon. Dungeons is actually on the CoCo, right, Karen?
Yeah,
yeah. All
And then
open to all.
Tiburon, is that going to be ported to the CoCo too? Or is that just going to be a Dragon exclusive?
You'd have to ask Barry. Probably Dragon.
Yeah. So, and that's on my list too, to do more European game coverage too. So
I know John Strong's working on a couple of projects, but I don't know if any of them will be completed before the end of the year. I know he's going to try to get at least one done for the Fest.
Good times. All right, well, we're going to wrap up CoCoTALK episode 32, the Forest of Doom launch party. Yay!
Congratulations.
Yay!
Can't wait.
It's been launched.
Start manual though. It's en route, so hopefully.
You mean this one right here, Curtis?
Yeah, shut up.
Rub it in, Steve.
Shut up, or I'll install another downloader for you.
Yeah, right. The Canadian virus.
Curtis has a chance to win the mug, though. Steve doesn't. Steve, because he's an early reviewer, he's not allowed to win the mug.
Can I at least try for a douche?
You're talking about the mug, right?
More to fill.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about that.
Yeah. And for a booby prize, here's an enema bag. All right, it's going downhill from here. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap this one up. Thank you all for being here, David and Mark and Bruce and Karen and Nick and Curtis and Grant and Bill Noble. CoCoTALK signing off.
All right.
So I says, if you think he's so grand, why don't you have him over for dinner?
The wizard for dinner! That's so funny!
Did you fellas see that lad who came in about 1:15?
Yeah, I seen him. Kid was all fired up saying someone lifted his money and wanted to know who it was.
Looking for the bandits! That's so funny!
Liable to get his throats cut, he keeps talking like that.
Yeah, get his throat cut!
I think that lad is going to try to recover the king's scepter.
The king's scepter? From the wizard? In the middle of the forest of doom? That poor bug'll be lucky if being robbed is all that happens to him.
Yeah, lucky!
There's something different about this one, though.
Different? Bah, I should rob him again myself. Get a few lads and follow him in a ways.
Yeah, follow him in and rob him!
I'm not so sure you want to be doing that now, Bill. Did you see that tome he was carrying?
That dusty old book? What of it?
Yeah, what of it?
I heard him say it contained the secrets of the Forest of Doom. I think this lad means business.
Well, that may be, but book or no book, I've never seen someone come back from that quest.
Yeah, never come back.
Well, I'll be wishing him luck. And while I'm at it, warn him about the shadows.
Are you ready? For the forest of doom. For the Tandy Color Computer 1, 2, and 3.
November 2017, if you dare.
Yeah, if you dare.
Thanks for listening to another episode of CoCoTALK. We certainly hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, why not check us out on the web at CoCoTalk.live, where you can watch video replays of all of our live episodes, as well as send us feedback and suggestions for the show. We'd certainly love to hear from you. Until next week, I'm the original gamer, Stevie Stroh. Keep on CoCoing, CoCo forever. Have a CoCo day, and bye-bye, everybody.